Welcome everyone to the Build Your Brand Strategy webinar. So let's build your personal brand. I love building brand strategies. It's my happy place. I've been doing it for over 20 years, and there's very little I love more than nerding out and uncovering the most unique and compelling messages to share about a brand. The only thing I like more than building brand strategies is helping others build brand strategies. I was trained as a facilitator in my master's in marketing over 22 years ago. And ever since then, I've taken every opportunity I can to facilitate development sessions. So workshops where we develop strategies, retreats where we go on 1 to 4 day retreats where we actually build strategies together, creative sessions, any opportunity I can have to help people figure out what the puzzle pieces are and click them together and have that aha moment themselves. Because when you have that aha moment, you own it. It's yours. It's your idea. Now, I really hope that today I can help you have an aha moment. So let's learn and create together. I'm going to share a little bit about my story and how that led me to create my personal brand. And then later, how it led me to create a process to develop a personal brand strategy. And then you're going to workshop a little piece of that process yourself. So before we get started, do you think you have a personal brand? Do you feel like you worked on a personal brand, or you have something that you're kind of happy with? Just take a moment to consider. So do you have a personal brand message? So one succinct statement about the unique and compelling value that only you offer. Okay, well today we're going to help work on that. I'd like to talk to you first though about brand messaging and why it's so important. And that's whether it's a personal brand message or whether it's a brand like a product, a service, an offering. Effective marketing is sharing the right message with the right people in the right place at the right time. And that creates a connection with your customer. And that connection will promote something that happens in the mind or happens physically in their behavior. So in the mind, you might change perception. You might raise awareness of yourself or your offering. It might change a perception or an attitude or a belief about something. In the physical body or in behavior, it may promote action. So an actual behavior change. And that might be buying something. It might be using something again. It might be referring to a friend, taking action essentially. So that's effective marketing and what we're trying to achieve. But if your message isn't right, it doesn't matter if you reach the right people in the right place at the right time. There's no connection. So having effective brand messaging is fundamental to the success of your marketing, because if you don't have a good brand message, your marketing fails. It's imperative to have a strong personal brand message, especially in today's world where we spend so little time in person with prospective clients or customers, and a lot of our time is actually online, and often we're not there in person. Our persona of us is living online in a number of different places, and often your potential customers have a number of interactions online with you when you're not there. So you've got to make sure that all the places you exist online have a really strong personal brand message. So now that we've established the importance of having a good brand message, let me tell you a little story about my journey. So I spent 15 years in agency land as a strategist. I worked in big global agencies like TBWA and Grey, and a local hero here in Canada, Rethink, and a number of them in Ireland as well, like GDF H&B and Goosebump and others. And I was trained as a strategist, and I worked with many wonderful senior strategists around the world and learned many, many amazing processes for building strategies. And what I did was I built strategies, and I built all sorts of strategies. Brand strategies, social strategies, digital strategies, data strategies, customer relationship marketing strategies, integrated strategies, marketing plans, you name it, I built it. I also facilitated strategy development. So I led teams to develop strategies together. I led teams across different agencies to build strategies together. I guided the strategic direction of clients' businesses. Basically, I did strategy in and out. I built strategies for all types of brands and offerings, from products, services, to experiences like tourism and movies. I worked for large multinationals where I built brands for a portfolio of brands, and for local companies and not-for-profits, and even marketing and brand agencies. I built brand stories for them to reposition their own agencies. But I didn't sell strategy. I built strategy. I talked strategy to clients, but I didn't sell it. And 6 years ago, when I opened my consulting practice, I started promoting what I did. I started selling strategy. And one of the main ways I did that was at speaking events, because I believed if I got up there and spoke to groups of people about my experience and my point of view on strategy, that they would decide whether I was a good fit for them and then start a conversation. I spoke at creative events, I spoke at strategy events, I spoke on panels with agency leaders about the state of marketing. I spoke on a wide variety of events. And what was I selling? Well, I was selling strategy, but I was selling all sorts of brand and marketing strategies. And often when I was in conversations with clients, it felt like too many things, like I had too many options to talk about. So like a good strategist, I chose an area of focus, defined a positioning for my company around that one type, and decided it would be better to be a master of one than a jack of all trades. And what do you think that type of strategy I focused on was? Well, it was brand strategy. Because remember, if your message isn't right, your marketing fails. If your message isn't right, your marketing fails. But clients didn't always understand what I was talking about. I found myself explaining over and over and over again what a brand strategy was and why it was important. I tried describing it in different ways to make it more digestible. Like I would talk about brand messaging and key brand messaging and a unique brand message and a brand promise and brand story. And they definitely helped. They made it a little bit more accessible to people maybe who weren't as sophisticated in marketing. But clients were like, what? I'm not really sure what you're selling. I mean, some of them are still buying because they liked me and they believed in my experience and they believed I could solve their marketing problems. But I knew that all of them just weren't getting it. So guess what I did next? I built sales tools. I redesigned my website many, many times. I created case study after case study after case study selling what I did. I created new PowerPoint decks. So many PowerPoint decks and presentations. I created content, so much content that I felt like my job was a content creator. I crafted sales scripts to sell strategy. I listened to podcasts and books and selling techniques on how to sell, and the list goes on. And it was all to educate them on what strategy was and how I created it. So this is important. Like everything I was doing was like teaching the people I was trying to sell to. And clients are like, okay, that's a lot of information. And again, some of them were buying, but not all were understanding what I was selling. And I was exhausted. I'm sure you felt this too. When you're kind of trying to get your message across, but it's just not landing and you're trying many, many different things. So I stopped making new things and I started testing out what I was saying. And so instead of talking about brand strategy, which wasn't quite landing all the time, I started talking about the components of brand strategy. So brand positioning, competitive audit, customer research, and brand messaging. And so when I talked about brand positioning, people kind of got it. They knew brand positioning was important. They knew it was important to have a unique position in the market against your competitors. If they didn't fully understand brand positioning, they would know what I was talking about when I talked about a unique selling proposition and having a brand position that supported it. When I talked about doing a competitive audit, it was just a no-brainer. People could understand the value of going out there and observing competitors and seeing what they're saying and gathering insights and figuring out how to say something different. So there was obvious value in it. Same with customer research, like researching with the customers about what they need or want or what their motivations or desires are. Like there's obvious value in it. You can see there's value in doing that, even if there's no brand strategy built. And then brand messaging. I talked about the importance of having a unique message that was different than your competitors, about having a compelling message that attracted your ideal clients. So people got these. They were easier things to kind of sell by themselves. But then I started digging into, right, what do these things actually deliver? And I'm going to take you down a little messaging rabbit hole with me. So please bear with me, but it'll make sense in the end about how I got to where I got to. So when I looked at brand positioning, I asked myself, what does this really deliver? What's the outcome of having a good brand position? Well, it creates a competitive edge. And, what does a competitive edge create? Customers choose you because you're telling them how you're different from other competitors. Okay, moving on to competitor audit. Like, what does this deliver? What's the benefit of a competitor audit? Well, it helps you uncover opportunities in the marketplace. And what does that let you do? Well, it allows you to expand into new niches and grow your market share. What does customer research deliver? Well, it helps you understand what your customers need and want. And what can that do? Well, it can help you make your customers happier. Now, this all hit gold with clients. They got this when I talked about, would you like to make your customers happier? They were like, yeah, I would. Brand messaging. What does this deliver? What can the outcome be? Well, it helps you communicate the unique value that a brand offers. And what can that do? Well, it helps you attract your ideal customers and more of them. So then when you look at all of these things together, I started thinking, well, what do they all deliver together? So when customers choose you, when you can expand into new markets and grow your market share, when you can make your customers happier, when you can attract your ideal customers and more of them, what do all of these do together? Well, it can help you grow your business. All of those things can grow your business. So then I thought about, okay, well, how can this relate to strategy and what I do? And I build brand stories that grow businesses. I build brand stories that grow businesses. And clients were like, I get it. Let's do it. I want your brand stories because they're going to grow my business. And the project started rolling in. Not immediately, of course. I still had to have meetings with clients, and meet new prospects. But every new person that I was sharing this messaging with, so many more of them were converting into clients. And I started to see the same need with some of my clients who were the face of their company, like the way I'm the face of my company. But also with my industry friends who wanted to raise their profile in their career. I started to see the need with them too. Sometimes people in their career are looking to position themselves as an expert or a thought leader, or sometimes they're getting ready for a move and they want to raise their profile and be really clear about the value that they offer. So I decided to develop a process to create a personal brand strategy, and that's what I'm going to share with you now. So my personal brand strategy is twofold. It's the heart of the personal brand strategy is a personal brand statement. And that's your message. That's your key message about you. And the other part of it is a content strategy and marketing plan that brings your statement to life. That's the delivery of the message. Now, we can't cover it all in this session, but today I'm going to share a little bit more detail about the personal brand statement and how we create one. So when you build a personal brand statement, there's a number of elements you want to consider. You want to consider your audience, and you want to either describe them overtly in the statement or describe them less overtly, but ensure that when they read the statement, they know it's for them. And I'll show you some examples and you'll see what that looks like. You want to include in there what you do and what you deliver, and also the unique value you offer, like what sets you apart. If you have all of these elements and a winning combination, it's going to give you a great personal brand statement. So let's look at mine for a moment. I build brand stories that grow businesses. What do? I build brand stories. Now, brand stories are brand strategies, but brand stories are just a little bit more accessible, a little bit more inviting language than brand strategy, especially if somebody doesn't understand what a brand strategy is, which, as I've shown you before, some of my prospective clients didn't. And what does that deliver? Like, what do I deliver? I deliver business growth. And who is my audience? Well, they're businesses. So here a business can represent if you either a leader of a business, somebody in charge of a business, somebody building a business, somebody responsible for marketing a business, but it's businesses. So I'm going to show you some more examples. Ian Kramer is a life coach, a personal trainer, a Pilates teacher, a rock climbing instructor, a martial arts master, and so much more. He's just like a pretty awesome human being that does so many things to help other people. His personal brand statement is, I help people upgrade their lives with whole being coaching. I help people upgrade their lives with whole being coaching. Now, what he delivers here is upgrading people's lives. What he does is whole being coaching. The cool thing about the process that I did with him was there was no role or title that fit everything that he did. So I actually created a new one, whole being coaching, that encompassed all of the types of coaching he does, from physical, mental, emotional, and energetic. So you can see how there's opportunity to do things that are unique with your personal brand statement. Andrea and Will are brand designers, they're partners and studio owners, they're illustrators and animators. Their brand statement is, we create unexpected brands that pull you in. We create unexpected brands that pull you in. When they create brands, they go out of their way to do things that are different. So that's where the unexpected brands come in. When we did a competitive audit, we noticed that none of their competitors were talking about the effect a brand has. So when you see a really cool brand or design, you get goosebumps. Like, it's actually like a visceral effect. So here, the effect that we created for them was, it pulls you in, it makes you lean in, because it's like so interesting and so different. Clay Gillespie is a financial advisor. He's a retire planning expert. In fact, he's the leading one in all of Canada. He's also the MD of a wealth management company, RGF Integrated Wealth. And his personal brand statement is helping Canadians retire smarter, richer, and happier for over 28 years. Helping Canadians retire smarter, richer, and happier for over 28 years. So what he delivers is smarter, richer, and happier Canadians. What he does is retirement planning, and that's how we express that in the helping them retire. And the 28 years indicates the unique value of his long experience, and it indicates how he's an expert. So now I've shown you some examples in the process. Let's workshop a core piece of this process. So I'd love to workshop what you do and what you deliver. And here's what I do, what it delivers, and what the outcome benefits are, just to give you a little bit of a snapshot. But before we start, I'm going to invite you to have a little mindful moment with me. I like to do this because it's a mental palate cleanser, kind of cleans the mind a little bit and helps us get ready to be really creative. So come sitting tall, spine straight, or if you're standing up, stand tall. If it feels comfortable, close your eyes. Place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. Gently draw your belly to your spine and breathe into the hand on your heart. And start dragging out each inhale and each exhale a little longer with each breath. And keep dragging out each inhale and each exhale until you reach 4 seconds per inhale and a little micro pause and 4 seconds per exhale. And there's no rush, take your time to get there. And leave your eyelids closed if they're closed, and relax your hands down to your thighs or to your sides if you're standing. I invite you to remember a memory of a time when you were in flow, a time when the ideas were just coming to you, the next steps were just popping into your head. You might have been in a conversation with somebody where the conversation was bouncing back and forth and it was just in flow. You might have been coming up with some ideas, and you may have done all the work to get there for the ideas, and they were just revealing themselves. And just pick one of those moments. It can be a little moment or a big moment. It doesn't matter. And just try and remember how you felt in that moment. Just feeling the lightness of the flow. How you didn't need to work for the next thoughts or ideas. How your mind just brought you to the next step with so much ease. And that feeling of optimism and possibility. Okay, hold that moment in your heart. I invite you to think of a second moment, a moment where an idea just came to you. You might have done all of the work. You may have taken all of the steps you normally take. You might have done all of the research and thinking, the practices you normally do to come up with an idea. You may have done all of those, and it's just you're in that moment and the idea just comes to you. Or it might have been one of those times where you're doing something else. You're in the shower, you're walking, you're brushing your teeth, and all of a sudden the idea pops into your head and you just have that magic aha moment. So just remember one of those times and remember how you felt. The moment when the idea came, it wasn't there before and suddenly it was there. And the idea just comes with all these possibilities and opportunities and potential paths. Just feeling how you felt in that moment. And place one hand on your heart and the other on top. And holding those feelings in from those two memories. Just feeling that optimism, that lightness, the energy, the spark that comes with ideas and being in flow. And knowing that this can happen at any time. A new path can reveal itself at any time. And let's bring some of that creative magic into this next part of our session. Release your hands down, flutter your eyelids open if they were closed. All right, let's move on to our workshop. So the first part of the workshop is, I'd like you to list all the things that you do. So list all of the things you offer, whether it's a service offer or a product offer, and just list them all down. So make a long list. And at this point, I'm going to ask you to just pause this and take as much time as you need to do a long list. All right, moving on to the next step. So get a new sheet of paper. It's lovely to start with a nice clean sheet of paper. And narrow down your list and pick 2 to 4 key things that you offer. And if you want, you can put them in priority. The most important at the top and the least important is number 4. Again, pause and take as long as you need to do this. Okay, now you've got your top 2 to 4 things that you do. And what I'd love you to do is brainstorm each of these things to see what are the benefits of each of these things that you do. What are the outcomes? What do they deliver for the client? Again, pause and take as long as you need to. And you can ask yourself these things. What are the outcome? What is the benefit of each thing? You can even put yourself in your client's shoes and go, what's in this for me? Which I think is kind of a little playful and sometimes sparks some nice ideas. So again, pause, take as long as you need to, and then we'll meet at the next step. Wonderful. I hope you enjoyed that process and had a little aha moment there. It's great to get into the practice of speaking in the customer's language and what you deliver. And even in that little exercise that you'll have done, hopefully you've got some new language and some new ways to describe what you deliver to your clients. So that's just a little piece of the process. I'm going to show you what the full process looks like. So this is the worksheet that we complete at the later on in the course after we've gone through research. So we cover who the audience is, who your statement should speak to, how you describe your audience, what are the many ways that you can describe your audience, and how can you describe them directly, overtly, and also kind of imply who they are. Then what you do and what you deliver, you'll see there in the top middle is what we just did. Then we get into what is the impact or the results of working with you. So on the top right here, so this is where we kind of uncover like, how is your audience better off after working with you? On the bottom left and in the middle, we uncover your strengths. And so we do a strengths test. And in your strengths, you find really interesting things, interesting descriptions about how you perform. And that leads us on to your unique value. So we look at your strengths to see if there's some unique value we can pull there, some way that you operate that can be different from other people. We also look at combinations of other things to see if there's some unique value, because it can be in any of these boxes. So this is what we complete at the end. And to do that, we uncover a lot of information, because what we want to do is go out there and uncover all of the potential ingredients for your statement, so that in the end we're picking the best ones. You can of course draft a couple of statements now with the little formula for sure, but you're going to be drafting it with the information that's top of mind right now. When you do this research, you actually uncover so much more. Some of the research includes interviewing or sending surveys or questions to your previous clients or customers, and they are so revealing. Your clients or customers or ex-colleagues, for example, they see things about you that you don't see. So this is like it's a gem part of the process. You also do, you look at client testimonials if you had them, because you look for the language and the words that your clients use to describe their experience of working with you. And you do a strengths test and sometimes a strengths consultation with an expert in that. So it's a really revealing process, and it just reveals so much about how awesome you are and how working with you is an awesome experience. So like, this process helps instill confidence. Like, at the end of this process, you are so sure of your own awesomeness. It's just quite wonderful. And then we narrow down all of the insights and put the most important ones on the worksheet. And then we make combinations. We make combinations of these insights for the audience, what you do in delivering your unique value. And then you draft lots of statements, many statements. You just have fun at this point. And then there's always a gem statement or a few. It can be hard to decide which one is the winning one, but there's always a winner. After that, we create an action plan to put your personal brand statement to work. There's a lot of places that you can just put it to action straight away. And then there will be some places where there's some ways to bring it to life that will be unique to you and your industry and what you offer. So if you'd like to take this further, and I really hope you do, because you've spent this time watching this webinar and taking in this information, and there's some ways that you can bring this further yourself, you can give it a go. Right? You can take this webinar and you can grab some content off my website and you can try it yourself. If you're the type of person who likes to have the confidence that you're doing it in the best way, you can use my self-guided course. This webinar gives you a sense of what the course is like. There's little videos and exercises and worksheets. And there's, lists of questions and things that you can send people. So everything you need is in that course for you to kind of do every step in the best possible way. If you're the type of person who likes to build things in community and who likes to have the support of other people to help them be accountable to their goals, then I do a live course a couple of times a year. So you can check out on the website when the next one is. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. And if you're the type of person who's like, I don't have time for this, and I would love to do this, but I'm not sure I want to do it myself, then I can build it for you. And now all of these options have varying prices. Obviously, doing it yourself is free. The self-guided course is just under $500. The community support one, the live course, is just under $1,000. And when I build it for you, it's around $5,000. And there's a few options if you want to do some additional things later as well. So yeah, I hope you choose one of these options. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Building and Community course. So how it looks is there's 3 parts to the course. 1, we do co-working sessions, and it'll be a 2-hour session every week. And the great thing about that, and it'll happen for 4 weeks. So the course is like 1 month long. And of course, you can do the course faster yourself if you use the self-guided course, but this gives you time to like do the research in between the weeks, in between the sessions. And each week what we do is we recap the goals and tasks. I'll give a little talk on the things we're trying to achieve. And we'll also have Q&A and discussion about things. And you will have dedicated time in those 2 hours to work on things. So it will be a co-working session. You know, some of it I'll be supporting it. And at other times you're going to be doing some work. So you'll know that you have this dedicated time every week to do it. Then you'll have the self-guided course to work with during the week. So you'll have all of those materials that come with self-guided course, and you can work through tasks that maybe you didn't complete in the co-working session, or if you want to dig into something more, or if you kind of want to look ahead at what's next. And you'll have access to this course for your life, which is wonderful because you should come back to this work every couple of years, or if something has changed, like if you shift career, change industry, you'll want to change your personal brand statement. Or if you decide you're going to, change career, you want to change your personal brand statement. And then finally, the community support. I mean, this is the big thing about this live piece. You get to share your work with each other and ideas for feedback. You get to celebrate each other's progress and support each other when you actually launch your personal brands. So, lots of people in the courses, they'll put posts out with their putting out their personal brand statement, and everybody in the course will go on and comment and like and share. It's quite wonderful. And so it's also really nice because you get to build community with like-minded folks. I find it's a certain type of person who enjoys this sort of professional development and personal development work. So a lot of the time, the people who come enjoy spending time with each other and, become industry friends or make friends. So if you're interested in any of these, please sign up. Here's a QR code. It'll bring you to the personal brand strategy page on my site. You can also just go to ilikestorytelling.com and go to the online courses, and you'll find the personal brand strategy course there. Again, I invite you to have a little mindful moment. I'd love you to just pause and think about, is there something interesting you learned today? Is there something that it prompted you to think? Or something you found interesting or surprising? Or did something pop up in the workshop that, made you think something different than what you expected? We move through life so fast these days. I think it's lovely just to take a little stop and pause and go, hey, what did I get out of that? So please take a pause now and just stop and have a think about it and write down something you liked, thought was interesting, appreciated, maybe came up with during this session. All right, just a couple of things for you to take away, because I think it's great to just put the seeds back into the brain when we're leaving these sessions. So the first thing is, if your message isn't right, your marketing fails. Secondly, don't focus on what you do in your communications. Instead, focus on the things what you do create, like what you deliver. Think about what you deliver. I always encourage people, put yourself in the client's shoes and ask, what's in this for me? Because we're very busy selling what we do. But let's speak in their language and tell them how we're giving them something of value. Again, speak in the client's language. That's point number 4. It's really important to speak in their language. As you saw from my example, brand strategy didn't land, but other things did. And then finally, you need a strong personal brand message to sell the value that you offer when you're not there. And that's in all the digital places. And in this day and age, we need to make sure that our personal brand is saying what we want it to say about us everywhere our persona lives online. Thank you so much for watching this session. And I'm very excited for you and for you building your personal brand. So I really hope you take this and move forward. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at Annabelle@ilikestorytelling.com. You can also find a contact form on the website. Okay, enjoy building your personal brand.